In the heart of Africa, where the sun painted the earth golden at dawn and the drums of the night still echoed through the morning breeze, there stood a village named Abodonkium, the village of stones. Its people were known for strength, wisdom, and tradition. Children played beneath the giant baobab trees, and elders sat at the village square, telling stories that carried the soul of generations. But hidden beneath the laughter of children and the rhythm of daily life lay a mystery, an old truth, whispered by ancestors, about the spiritual secrets of parenting. This truth had been gathered for centuries, passed down not in scrolls or books, but in stories that carried power, fear, and hope. The story begins with the couple, Motsi Odinigbo and Mama Nena. They were farmers, hardworking and respected. They had 3 children, Chike, a boy with bright eyes and a restless spirit, Edeora, a girl with a tender heart and deep wisdom for her age, and the youngest, Obina, whose laughter warmed even the coldest hearts. To the ordinary eye, they were just like any other family. But the elders of the land whispered that the destiny of Abodonkium rested not in its warriors or hunters, but in the hearts of its children. And it was in the home of Odinigbo and Nena that this destiny would be tested. For in Africa, it was said, when a child is not embraced by the village, he will burn it down to feel its warmth. One night, as the moon shone full, Odinigbo sat outside his hut, listening to the voices of the ancestors in the wind. An elder named Papa Aneo, gray-haired and bent with age, came to him and spoke. "Do you know, my son, that the first secret of parenting lies in the seed of words? Words are like seeds planted in the heart of a child. Speak life, and life will grow. Speak death, and death will find its root." Odinigbo pondered these words. He remembered the times he had shouted at Chike for being stubborn, the times he had scolded Edora when she asked too many questions, the times he had dismissed Obina's laughter as noise. And that night, for the first time, he wept. For he realized that every word he spoke was building the spirit of his children, or breaking it. From that day, the family began to change. Odinigbo began to bless his children each morning. He called Chike a leader of men, Edora, a well of wisdom, and Obina, a light to the world. Their home became filled with life-giving words, and the children began to bloom like flowers after rain. As the years passed, the children grew. Chike was strong but restless, always tempted by mischief. Edeora was wise, but sometimes fearful. Obina was joyful, yet easily influenced. One day, trouble struck the village. A thief had been stealing goats from the compound of the chief. The village was restless, and rumors filled the air. But to everyone's shock, the thief turned out to be a cousin of Odinigbo. When the news broke, Odinigbo had a choice. He could cover the shame and pretend it never happened, or he could stand for truth, even when it hurt. The whole village gathered at the square as the case was judged. The children watched with wide eyes. And before all, Odinigbo stood and declared, "Even if he is my blood, let justice stand. Let wrong be called wrong, and let truth remain truth." The crowd gasped. Some praised him, others mocked him. But the children never forgot. That night, Edeora whispered to her brothers, "Now I see. Father has taught us that example is louder than words." The second secret of parenting had been revealed. Children may not always listen to what you say, but they will never forget what you do. As the children grew into their teenage years, storms began to rise. Chike started keeping company with boys who loved palm wine more than farming. Edeora began to question her worth, comparing herself to others. And Obina, the youngest, started wandering into the forest alone, following voices only he could hear. Mama Nene grew worried. She remembered the teachings of her mother: a parent's greatest battle is not fought with cane or stick, but on the mat of prayer. So, while the village slept, she would kneel on the cold floor, whispering the names of her children to the heavens. She prayed for Chike's restless spirit, for Adora's searching heart, for Obina's wandering soul. There were nights when she wept until the floor was wet with tears. but she never stopped. And slowly, the unseen hand of the ancestors, guided by the Great Spirit, began to move. One evening, Jack came home shaken. His friends had been caught stealing from a merchant, and he had barely escaped. He fell into his mother's arms and wept, saying he would never walk that path again. Edeora, in her dreams, began to see visions of herself teaching children under the baobab tree. She awoke with new courage, realizing her life carried purpose. And Obinna, one night, told his parents of a dream where a shining figure clothed in light had called his name and told him, "Do not follow the whispers of the dark, you are a child of light." As the years rolled by, the family grew closer. Yet the village of Abodonkium was shaken once more. Famine came. The rains delayed, the ground cracked, and the harvest was thin. Hunger walked the land like a ghost. Fathers became restless, mothers anxious, and children weaker. Many men left their families to search for work in distant towns, leaving wives and children behind. But Odenigbo chose differently. Though he had the strength to travel, he stayed. He hunted, fished, and shared what little they had with his family. In the evenings, though weary, he told stories under the moonlight. He laughed with his children, danced with his wife, and prayed with them around the fire. One day, Chak asked him, "Father, why do you not live like the others?" And Odenigbo replied, "Because the wealth I seek is not in gold or distant lands, it is in you, my children. My time is my gift, and you are my harvest." It was then that the children learned the fourth secret of parenting: presence is more powerful than presents. Time given to a child is a treasure that never fades. Seasons passed. The famine ended, rains returned, and the land grew green again. The children of Odenigbo and Nene became adults. Chek became a brave hunter, Edeora a healer and teacher, and Obinna a wise drummer whose rhythms carried the spirit of the people. The day came when each child was ready to leave the home to start their own families. On the night before their departure, Odenigbo and Nene gathered them. They laid their hands on each child and blessed them. They prayed for their journeys, their futures, and their destinies. "You are no longer children of our heart," Odenigbo said, "but children of the world. Go forth, and carry the secrets we have taught you." The children wept, for their hearts were heavy. But they knew, a parent's role is not to chain children to the heart, but to release them with blessing into their destinies. Years later, Abodonkium prospered. The children of Odenigbo and Nene became leaders, healers, and guides to the next generation. And whenever the villagers gathered under the baobab tree, the story was told. That the greatest warriors of a land are not those who wield spears, but those who raise children with wisdom. For in the heart of Africa, the spiritual secret of parenting was this: to raise a child is to shape eternity. And so, the story ends, not with silence, but with the echo of drums, laughter of children, and the whisper of ancestors blessing the land.